Single mom's heartwarming blind date surprise exposes CEO's amazing response. You'll be inspired. Jessica's heart raced. Tonight was the night of her blind date. As a 32-year-old single mother, juggling two jobs and life's chaos with Lily and Max, the very thought of stepping out felt surreal. She stood before her mirror, hesitant, but excitement bloomed deep within her. A little mascara and a form-fitting dress transformed her into someone almost unrecognizable, a sliver of hope in a life marred by bills and responsibilities. As she arrived at the quaint restaurant, blending the cozy atmosphere with trendy vibes, she couldn't shake the notion that she was walking into a fairy tale, a world where CEOs discussed tech innovations while she worried about grocery lists. Alex, her date, was everything her best friend had described: confident, charismatic, a CEO of a booming startup. The contrast of their worlds hit her hard. Their conversation flowed, his laughter washing over her like a gentle wave when her phone buzzed violently. In that instance, a spiral of dread gripped her heart. It was Max. "Mom, they're being mean to me." His voice trembled, each word laced with that heartbreaking mixture of loneliness and fear. Her instincts kicked in, and panic clawed at her throat. Should she rush home and abandon this glimpse of possibility? Looking into Alex's eyes, she saw surprise shift to something deeper. He was not just a successful man, but a compassionate one. "Let's go help him," he offered, surprising them both with his response. They jumped into his shiny car, leaving behind the clink of dishes and soft chatter. As the engine purred to life, her heart felt heavy, weighed down by love and loyalty to her children, yet buoyed by Alex's warmth. This is crazy, she thought, but could feel strength surging through her. This wasn't just a date, it was a chance at a new reality, one where vulnerability could navigate walls society built. Opening the door to her home felt like stepping into a battlefield. Max waited for her in the living room, his small frame curled up on the couch, eyes wide with a storm of emotions. Instead of sidestepping the crisis, Alex knelt beside Max. "Hey, buddy, you want to chat?" he said, his voice soothing, disarming the tension. Jessica watched in awe as Alex engaged Max, asking questions that opened the floodgates of the young boy's hurt. It wasn't just about defending him from bullies, it was about understanding his reality. Meanwhile, Jessica felt a sense of community swirl around the room. She envisioned neighbors, friends, and their shared resilience, lifting each other up. As Max opened up, they shared stories about the joys and struggles of their lives. Jessica shared her struggles to keep ends met amidst the laughter and games of her tight-knit community. In turn, Alex discussed his battles against loneliness despite the financial success that surrounded him. Before they could truly connect, her phone buzzed again. A message flashed on the screen, revealing an unexpected twist. Jessica's heart fell, her future suddenly uncertain. There it was, looming over them, the fear of her real life crashing into this moment of connection. Would Alex feel burdened by her chaos? Would he retreat back to his world of privilege, leaving her behind with her kids and her struggles? Standing in that living room, the air thick with unspoken words, Jessica felt the tension between hope and reality coalesce. They had taken steps towards understanding, but where would it lead them? And could love truly bridge their vastly different worlds? The room seemed to hold its breath as Jessica's gaze bounced from Max to Alex. Max looked vulnerable, hope flickering in his eyes, while Alex radiated calm, a counterpoint to her racing heart. Jessica swallowed hard. She was eternally grateful, but questions spiraled in her mind. Was this how she would introduce her children to a new man? Would Alex really want to be a part of their messy world? "Mom, I don't want to go to school tomorrow. I just want to stay home," Max whispered, his small hands fidgeting, betraying his anxiety. Jessica felt a pang in her heart. She knew the weight of that statement. It represented more than just the fear of bullies. It was a cry for safety, for understanding. "Do you want to tell us why?" Alex asked, maintaining his gentle tone. There was something about his presence that felt anchored, stabilizing even in the storm of a child's heartache. Jessica marveled as Max's words tumbled forth, painting vivid images of boys in the playground and taunts that left invisible bruises. They said, "I'm broke like my mom." His words trailed off, pain flickering across his face. At that moment, her heart broke a little. Max had absorbed the burdens of their life so deeply. Jessica knelt beside her son and wrapped her arms around him. "Max, you're so much more than what they say. You are brave." And you know what? She turned to Alex, inviting him into their circle. "This is Alex. He understands how hard it can be." Alex smiled softly. "Hey, Max, I was bullied too when I was your age. It took me a long time to believe in myself." He shared his own story, a blend of struggles and triumphs, laced with lessons he learned along the way. Jessica could see Max absorbing the words, a shift taking place as hope sparked in his eyes. After the initial wave of pain, Max began to smile, the connection between the two growing. It felt surreal to Jessica, watching as Alex, a man from an entirely different world, reached out to her son, breaking down barriers without even trying. She suddenly saw a flicker of possibility, a glimpse of what their lives could look like if they intertwined. In a moment filled with unspoken warmth, Max's small hand found Alex's. "Do you think I could be brave like you one day?" "Absolutely," Alex replied, this time his eye holding a softness that melted Jessica's heart further. "And you know what? It'll take practice, but every time you stand up for yourself, that's you being brave." As they settled into a comfortable silence, Jessica's phone buzzed again, drawing her focus. It was from an unknown number. Her heart sank. Uncertainty crept back in, a reminder of the responsibilities awaiting her. She glanced at Alex, surprised to find him watching her with a knowing look. "Mom, do you have to go?" Max asked, the worry returning to his eyes. Jessica hesitated. She had just begun to glimpse what might be possible, and now the world outside intruded once more. Would she choose the familiar burdens that waited outside, or dare to step into a new reality, one where love and connection might flourish despite the odds? "Just a moment, sweetie," Jessica murmured, her thumb hovering over the message. It felt like a defining moment, a chance to either retreat into what she knew or leap forward into the unknown where Alex and her children could potentially build something beautiful together. With a deep breath, she looked up, meeting Alex's gaze once again. It was a challenge, a dance between fear and the flickering light of hope. Could she really let someone into their lives? As the tension filled the air, her mind whirled with possibilities. Would she take a chance? Or would she slam the door shut on what could be? Her thumb pressed down, opening the message that could change everything. Emotions surged through Jessica as she opened the message, the words leaping off the screen and striking her heart with a familiar pain. "Jessica, we need to talk about your financial situation. Please reply ASA." Her fingers trembled as she held the phone, the weight of her reality crashing down on her like a wave. "Who is it?" Max's innocent voice pulled her back from the brink. She couldn't let him see her fear. Not now when he was starting to believe in himself again. "It's just some old stuff," Jessica lied, forcing a smile despite the tightness in her chest. She wanted this moment with Alex and Max to last, but her reality was dark and looming. The message had plunged her back into that familiar pit of dread. Alex's presence felt both reassuring and daunting. As he watched her, she could feel his unwavering support like a lifeline tossed into her stormy sea. "You okay?" His voice was low and compassionate. Jessica nodded, her usual smile faltering. "Yeah, just work stuff." "It's okay to not be okay," Alex said, his eyes searching hers. "I know the weight of that burden, but you don't have to carry it alone." Max looked between them, sensing the shift. "Is it about the money, like the boys at school said?" A lump formed in Jessica's throat. How had he picked up on that? "It doesn't matter what some kids think," she said. What matters is how you feel about yourself. But if I'm broke, then... Max's small voice trembled at the edges. Jessica knelt down again, cradling his face in her hands. You're not broke. We've had tough times, but that doesn't mean you're less than anyone. You are worth so much more. I don't want to be sad like you, he whispered. Neither do I. But when I see you feeling better, it brightens my whole world, she replied, warmth spilling into her voice. Suddenly, Alex spoke up, breaking the weighty silence. Max, I want to help you out. How about this? Let's tackle the school thing together. I'll go with you tomorrow. Max's face lit up, but doubt lingered. Really? You'd do that? Of course, Alex said, smiling with genuine enthusiasm. We can walk to school together. I'll take care of the bullies. We'll handle them together. Jessica's heart swelled at the connection between them. This was not just about her and her struggles. It was about Max discovering a friend in someone who truly understood. The embrace between them felt cozy, yet the hidden burden loomed. Jessica wanted to let herself be swept away in this newfound warmth, yet knew the unknown text still hovered like a dark cloud. With a glance back at her phone, she noticed the screen lighting up again. Another message, pushing against the fragile moment they had created. Jessica, it's urgent. Call me. The urgency felt like a fist tightening around her chest. How could she move forward when the shadows of her unresolved light obstructed the light? Max's voice broke through her worries, innocent curiosity stretching over to Alex. What are you two talking about? Secrets? Nothing that concerns you, buddy, Jessica said, trying to mask the turmoil inside. But wouldn't he be better off knowing the truth? Suddenly, it felt important for Max to see that life wasn't just about the happy moments, but also the struggle they faced together. Can I help? Max asked, determination flickering in those young eyes of his. Jessica stared at him, the weight of what was unfolding settling in her heart. You already are, she said, her voice almost trembling with the strain of the moment. Alex's hand brushed Jessica's arm lightly. Let's tackle it together, all of us. As they shared this moment of vulnerability, Jessica couldn't shake the thought that this was only the beginning. Would she find the strength to face her challenges openly? The door to their uncertainty swung wide as she knew she had to respond to that message somehow. With a mix of exhilaration and dread, Jessica stood at the precipice of change. Could she embrace the unknown, or would she retreat back into the shadows of her past? The decision waited on her fingertips, and the dawn of a new chapter hovered in the air. Jessica took a shaky breath, her eyes darting between the glow of her phone and the eager faces of Max and Alex. The message loomed larger with every heartbeat, a silent challenge echoing in her mind. Call me. It felt like an anchor in the storm, weighing her down even further. Would facing it bring relief or just sink her deeper into the mire? I've got to make a call, she said, her voice steady but her insides rolled like restless waves. I'll be right back. With that, she walked to the kitchen, clutching her phone tightly. Once alone, she let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. It was just a phone call, she told herself, nothing she hadn't faced before, but this time felt different. The stakes were high. With a glance back at the warm embrace of her son and Alex playing in the living room, she dialed the number. Her heart raced as the line rang. It felt like an eternity before she heard a voice on the other end. Jessica? Finally, I've been trying to reach you. Yeah, I got your message, she replied, struggling to mask the apprehension in her tone. This can't wait. We need to discuss your financial situation, specifically the upcoming deadline for the loan payments. Jessica's breath caught in her throat. Cold panic spread through her. She had ignored the looming reality for too long. I know. You need to come in to see me. We can discuss options, but I can't promise anything without a full understanding of the situation. Options? Her voice was barely a whisper, tinged with despair. Yes, options, he repeated, his tone more forceful. But you need to act fast. I can't help you if you're not willing to meet me halfway. Set up a time tomorrow. 1,000 thoughts crowded her mind, each one twisting the knot in her stomach tighter. I'll think about it, she finally said, hanging up before he could press further. She leaned against the counter, the weight of her reality crashing back down. Could she really talk about her finances, admit how close she was to losing everything? She felt an emotional wave cresting, threatening to pull her under. But she couldn't let her fear decide her fate. With resolve, she walked back into the living room, watching Max and Alex laugh together. No matter how heavy her heart felt, clearer skies wouldn't come without facing the storm. "Hey guys," she said, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Want to make some plans for the weekend?" "Yes!" Max shouted, buzzing with excitement. "Can we go to the park?" Alex chimed in. "I can bring my skateboard. Maybe we can have a picnic too." A flicker of joy ignited within Jessica, momentarily pushing aside her worries. "That sounds perfect. Let's make it a day." She sat down beside them, feeling the warmth of their laughter wrap around her. Yet, beneath that warmth was a gnawing worry. Could she really go through with this meeting tomorrow? What would she do if things went south? As they chatted about the park, a constant buzzing of anxiety surrounded her thoughts. She felt like she was standing on the edge of a cliff, teetering between hope and despair. "Jessica?" Alex's voice cut through her reverie, reminding her to stay present. "You all right? You look a bit distant." "I'm fine, really," she smiled, though doubt whispered otherwise. But deep inside, a flicker of courage had begun to kindle. What if she faced the music instead of shying away? As the sun slanted through the window, casting a warm glow over them, she realized that no matter how terrifying it was, her next move could change everything. Little did she know that tomorrow would not only reshape her life, but also reveal secrets she never expected, ones that would challenge her to embrace the very fears she tried to ignore. What awaited her in that meeting room? The crossroads of her life lay ahead, and the journey was just beginning. The morning came too soon. Jessica lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying yesterday's conversation in her mind. The weight of uncertainty clung to her like a damp fog. She glanced at the digital clock and with a sigh pushed the covers off. Today, she had to confront her reality. After getting Max ready for school, the usual routine felt heavier, every cereal crunch echoing like a reminder of the meeting that loomed ahead. In the middle of tying his shoelaces, a thought struck her. Where was the strength she used to feel? Had life really knocked her down to this point? "Mom?" Max's small voice broke through her spiraling thoughts. "Is everything okay?" Jessica knelt to meet his concerned eyes. "Yeah, sweet pea, just a little busy today, but I promise you we'll have a great time at the park this weekend." He grinned, the innocence in his smile replenishing a bit of what she felt she was losing. "I'm looking forward to the picnic. I'll bring peanut butter sandwiches, okay?" "Perfect." She planted a kiss on his forehead, trying to pack a little warmth into her reassurance. Once Max was off to school, she took a deep breath, feeling more alone than ever. The silence in the house was deafening. It was just her and the ticking clock, creating a backdrop for her worries. Right then, her phone buzzed with a reminder. It was time for her meeting. Jessica's heart pounded as she slipped on a pair of shoes, thoughts spiraling again. What if it all fell apart? What if she couldn't find a solution? Gathering her things, she faced herself in the hallway mirror. "You can do this," she whispered, pushing back the doubts. After one last glance at the home she fought so hard to maintain, she stepped out into the sun, determined to meet her fate head-on. The drive felt like an eternity. Each red light seemed to mock her urgency, the city bustling around her as she felt suspended in time. She replayed her thoughts, rehearsing the conversation in her head. Would he judge her? Would he see her weakness? When she finally pulled into the parking lot, anxiety fluttered violently in her stomach. She parked and sat for a moment, staring at the building that felt so imposing. Her hands trembled as she adjusted her hair, forcing a deep breath that barely calmed her nerves. "Get it together," she muttered, stepping out of the car. As she walked inside, the cool air hit her skin, invigorating yet intimidating. She approached the office reception desk, and the clerk directed her to the conference room. The opulent surroundings reminded her just how vast the gap felt between her world and his. Jessica knocked lightly on the door, her heart racing. "Come in," a voice echoed from inside. Pushing the door open, she stepped into the room, eyes landing on him. Mark, the CEO, an imposing figure she'd only seen in passing at company functions. He looked up and offered a firm smile, but it seemed genuine. "Jessica, right? I've been looking forward to our chat." Instinctively, she squared her shoulders. "Yes, thank you for meeting with me," she began, trying to keep her voice steady. "It's important to me that we find a way to help," he said, leaning forward, an air of empathy surrounding him. "Tell me about your situation." Jessica sank into the chair across from him, swallowing hard while speaking words that felt foreign to her. She told him everything: the bills piling up, the weight of single parenthood, the dread of impending deadlines. As the words poured out, relief began to wash over her, finding the strength she thought she'd lost. Mark listened intently, occasionally nodding, his expression ever more engaged. And then he leaned back, taking a moment to consider what she had laid before him. "You're clearly doing everything you can for Max. Let's work on a strategy together." Something inside Jessica's shifted. Maybe this wouldn't just be a negotiation about numbers, but a chance to reclaim part of her life she thought she had lost. She blinked back sudden tears. Could someone really want to help her? But just as hope started budding, the door rattled with a loud knock. Jessica turned her head, eyebrows raised. What now? As the door creaked open, a familiar face appeared, and her heart dropped. Would this unexpected visitor bring her more chaos, or could it be the lifeline she had been waiting for? Jessica's breath hitched in her throat, anticipation mounting. What was this twist that awaited her just when she needed it the most? Jessica felt her stomach tighten as she recognized the face stepping through the door. It was Sarah, a longtime friend and former colleague who had left to pursue a different venture. In the hustle of her own struggles, Jessica had lost contact with her, and now Sarah appeared, both unexpected and oddly reassuring. "Jessica?" Sarah's eyes widened with surprise. "What are you doing here?" Flustered, Jessica glanced at Mark, who observed the scene with curiosity. A sudden, "I'm here to talk about some work-related issues." "Work?" Sarah repeated, stepping fully inside the room. "You? In here with the CEO?" Mark offered a warm smile, quickly diffusing any awkwardness. "We're just getting started, Sarah. Jessica has some important matters to discuss." Jessica felt both a pang of embarrassment and a flicker of gratitude for Mark's instinctive support. "Right," she replied, attempting to compose herself. "I'm just trying to find a way forward." Her nerves fizzled away in the backdrop of Sarah's familiar presence. "Well, that's great. I actually have some insights that could help," Sarah said, looking between them. "Absolutely," Mark nodded. "The more perspectives, the better." Jessica's anxiety began to morph into an unusual sense of camaraderie. Perhaps this moment could be more than just her plea for help. Maybe it could be a brainstorming session that helped shape her path, not only in finances, but in all aspects of her life. Sarah plopped down on the edge of a nearby chair, her enthusiasm infectious. "You know, Jess, I always believed you had so much potential. You just needed a bit of direction." Jessica bit her lip, feeling an unexpected swell of pride at Sarah's compliment. "I've been feeling lost, but I'm ready to figure things out." "Good. We can do this together," Sarah said, her eyes sparkling with determination. "And hey, maybe I can offer some resources from my new job that you would never have known about before." As they began to brainstorm ideas, the minutes flew by. With Mark's keen insights and Sarah's vibrant energy, Jessica felt her worries begin to untangle. They discussed potential solutions, strategies for managing her workload, and even personal development goals. But just as Jessica started to breathe easier, that sudden magic of possibility began fading, interrupted by the relentless pulse of reality. She glanced at her phone. Max would be home soon, and she needed to leave. She felt torn, gripping onto the moment, knowing it was time to return to her single mom responsibilities. "I need to get going," she said reluctantly, her heart heavy with everything left unsaid. "But thank you both. This conversation means a lot." Mark nodded knowingly. "You have my number. Let's keep the dialogue open. We'll find a way to support you, even if that means thinking outside the box." "Definitely," Sarah added, excitement bubbling in her tone. "I'll check in soon, and we'll keep the momentum going." As Jessica stepped back into the world outside, she felt lighter. Maybe it was possible to weave these threads of help into something tangible. She smiled at the thought of weekend picnics, not just tasks. But then, a shiver of doubt crept back. What if it was all just an illusion? What if the support was simply temporary? As she drove home, Jessica's mind raced, the hope she felt battling with the nagging worry that haunted her. But something stirred inside. Perhaps she wasn't as alone as she believed. With Sarah and Mark on her side, what could happen next? Just before pulling into her driveway, a motivational fire kindled deep within her. "I can do this," she whispered, gripping the steering wheel. As Max bounded toward her in the driveway, bright-eyed and joyful, she took a long, steadying breath. But just before stepping out of the car, her phone buzzed again. She hesitated, curiosity prickling her heart. Who could it be? What new surprises lay ahead? Jessica's heart raced, ready for whatever awaited her. Was it yet another twist in her journey? The moment for answers beckoned, daring her to dive deeper into uncertainty and newfound possibilities. The buzz of Jessica's phone felt electric against the silence of the car. Her heart raced with anticipation. What if it was Mark? Maybe he had more ideas or resources that could help her transform everything. Or worse, maybe it was work-related, another urgent task, another demand on her time. She took a deep breath and glanced at the screen. The name lit up. Sarah. A rush of warmth spread through her, easing the tension. What could Sarah want now? More brainstorming? She tapped the screen to open the message. "Jess, just got a lead on a workshop that could be a game changer for you. It's this weekend. Interested? Let's make plans." Jessica's heart leaped. A workshop? Just what she needed. An opportunity to grow, to expand her horizons. But then reality crashed back in. "This weekend," she murmured to herself. Max had soccer practice, and there was no way she could afford to drop him off with another sitter. She could feel the weight of disappointment tugging at her. "Ugh," she groaned, raking a hand through her hair. She parked the car and sat for a moment, staring at her steering wheel as if it could help her make a decision. "Why does it always have to be complicated?" she whispered into the stillness of the car. Just then, Max knocked on her window, jarring her from her thoughts. His smile was bright and pure, and in that moment, her heart softened. He was her anchor, the reason she fought through the chaos of adult life. She lowered the window, allowing the cool evening air to sweep in. "Hey, Mom, can we go grab ice cream?" he asked, bouncing on his feet. Ice cream? The simple sweetness of it pulled at something deep within her. Could she really juggle taking Max out while also seizing an opportunity for herself? Sure. "How about a scoop each?" she said, her smile growing, feeling lighter with each word. "Can I get chocolate with sprinkles?" he pleaded, his brown eyes sparkling with excitement. "Of course. Just remember, it's not a Sunday, so save some for later." She chuckled, attempting to balance his eagerness with a logical nudge. As they walked into the ice cream shop, pockets jingling with spare change, Jessica felt a flicker of realization. Maybe she didn't have to choose between motherhood and her aspirations. What if she could blend them? A workshop that taught her something new while also sharing her journey with Max? With Max happily devouring his ice cream, she texted Sarah, Count me in. I'll bring Max. We can make it a family outing. Emma's thumbs flew over the screen, her excitement building. Max looked up, his face smeared with chocolate. What's a workshop? Jessica paused, contemplating her response. It's like a fun class where you learn new things, like how to make life even more awesome. Can I join? He asked, eyes wide with wonder. She laughed. Maybe someday, buddy. It's for grown-ups right now, but you can help me practice what I learn. His grin was infectious, filling her with hope. As they finished their treats, Jessica's thoughts whirled with dreams of new possibilities, new directions. The uncertainty still lingered, but this time it felt different, more like a journey than a struggle. She could navigate this, one scoop at a time. But just as they stepped outside, the atmosphere shifted. She spotted a familiar figure in the distance. Sarah was waving enthusiastically. Why was she here? Suddenly, things felt both thrilling and precarious. What if Sarah had more surprises brewing? "Mom, who's that?" Max asked, his curiosity piqued. Jessica's heart skipped. She realized she was at the start of something new, something unfolding right before her very eyes. The air thickened with possibility, and just like that, she felt it again, a fear mixed with excitement. What would Sarah say next? The unexpected twists of her life were beginning to gather speed. Could this unexpected meeting lead to more opportunities than she could have imagined? As she approached, her mind buzzed with all the possibilities ahead. Jessica couldn't shake off the feeling that everything was about to change again. Jessica's heart thumped louder as she drew closer to Sarah, who leaned against the ice cream shop railing, grinning like a proud parent at a graduation. Her excitement was palpable, and it sent a ripple of curiosity racing through Jessica's mind. "Hey there," Sarah called out, her voice bright despite the dusky light of the evening. "Hi, Max." Sarah knelt down, extending her arms for a hug. Max rushed into her embrace, his small frame fitting perfectly against her. Jessica watched them, her heart swelling with affection. "You won't believe what I found out," Sarah said, standing up and looking at Jessica with a mix of pride and urgency. "There's an incredible speaker at this workshop. She's a CEO who started out as a single mom just like you." Jessica blinked, taken aback. A CEO? What's she going to do? Tell me how to run a startup? The laugh she forced out felt tinged with doubt. "No, Jess, this is different," Sarah replied, her brow furrowing with concern for her friend. "She's sharing her story, how she balanced everything and fought through the obstacles. This could be exactly what you need right now." Jessica's mind raced. A story of resilience? Could it really resonate with her? She needed to feel that spark. "I hope she was more organized than I am," she chuckled, glancing down at Max, who was now spinning in circles, lost to the enchantment of a summer evening. "Oh, you'd be amazed by her energy," Sarah said, a gleam in her eyes. "She's like this whirlwind of positivity. She empowers women, and guess what? There's a kids area because they want to encourage moms to bring their little ones. Max would love it." Jessica's excitement battled with her anxiety. Could she actually commit to something like this? The thought of stepping into an environment that celebrated growth lit a fire in her belly. That sounds amazing. But her brow nodded as practical concerns settled back in. But it's so last minute, and what if I can't focus? I mean, will Max be okay? Sarah reached out and squeezed her arm gently. "Jess, it's not all or nothing. Just come and see. If it's too much, you can leave early, but you might also discover something life-changing." Jessica's heart thudded with possibility. The truth was that she did want to discover something new, a thread of inspiration to weave into her daily life. She stole a glance at Max, who was still engrossed in his own little adventure, and she imagined the looks he might give her if he saw her following her dreams. All at once, everything felt immense yet intimate, life-transforming not just for her, but for Max, too. Okay, I'm in, she declared, buckling down with determination. Let's go to the workshop, but only if there's ice cream involved. Absolutely, Sarah shot back, laughter spilling from her as they turned to leave. The warmth of her acceptance seeped into Jessica's heart, melting away much of the tension that warped her thoughts. As they walked, side by side, Max began pulling on Sarah's sleeve, spinning around to ask her questions about what to expect. She chuckled and answered, her enthusiasm spilling over like the ice cream that dripped from the cone in his hand. Yet, deep down, Jessica felt a whisper of doubt creeping back in. Could a CEO's story truly uplift her broken spirit? With so many hurdles still lying ahead, would she measure up to this new inspiration? Approaching her car parked near the curb, she felt her phone vibrate again in her pocket, a familiar sensation that now almost felt like a friend seeking attention. Who could it be this time? A pit of nervousness twisted in her stomach. Was it Mark reaching out, or just work? With a flick of her thumb, she pulled out her phone and glanced at the screen. Her heart froze as she read the name. What would this new message mean for the workshop and her newfound commitment? As she stared at the screen, a mix of hope and anxiety threading through her, she realized she was dangling on the edge of a thrilling new chapter. What awaited her on the other side of that message? Jessica's heart raced as she registered the name on her screen. It was Mark. Why now? A mixture of relief and apprehension washed over her. She hadn't heard from him in weeks, and their last conversation had been filled with unspoken words and lingering tension. A myriad of memories flooded her mind, both good and painful. Taking a deep breath, Jessica opened the message. Hey Jess, can we talk? I know things have been rough. I miss you and Max. The simple words sent a wave of emotion crashing over her. Did he really miss them? Did he recognize the void he had left? She shifted her gaze from the screen to Max, who was obliviously kicking pebbles along the sidewalk, his laughter mingling with the hum of the evening air. She felt a stab of longing for a family unit that felt whole. Are you okay? Sarah's voice cut through her thoughts. Jessica forced a smile, though her heart felt heavy. It's Mark. Oh. Sarah's expression shifted, a flicker of sympathy crossing her face. What does he want? I don't know, Jessica said, panic bubbling beneath her calm facade. It's just after everything. Sarah stepped closer, her eyes focused with concern. You don't have to respond immediately. You have a choice about how you want to handle this. That was the key, wasn't it? In the past, she'd felt compelled to react out of obligation, but this time it felt different. She wanted the power to choose, not only for herself, but for Max. The warmth of empowerment Sarah spoke of flickered in her chest, igniting the determination she had felt mere moments ago. Let's just go to the workshop, Jessica said, resolute. I'll deal with him later. I could use a break from all that. Sarah nodded, her smile returning full force. Exactly. This could be a fresh start, an evening of inspiration. You deserve that. As they climbed into the car, the prospect of the workshop transformed from a mere what if to a tangible possibility. With every turn of the ignition, anxiety ebbed away, replaced by a thread of excitement. Max chatted endlessly about the ice cream flavors he couldn't wait to try. His youthful enthusiasm was infectious, filling the car with light she desperately needed. Can we get the rainbow one, Mommy? He asked, his bright eyes sparkling with mischief. Jessica laughed, a genuine sound that she feared had been lost over the months. Of course, let's make it a night to remember. The drive was brief, but with it, Jessica's anticipation grew thick like the summer humidity pressing against the windows. As they parked, she took a moment to breathe in the bustling energy surrounding the community center. Colors flashed through the entrance, and lively chatter thrummed in the air. Holding Max's hand, she stepped out of the car and felt the weight of uncertainty lingering just under the surface. But this time, the doubt had a shape, a small, flickering light guiding her forward. As they approached the entrance, she caught sight of other mothers and children filtering in, laughter punctuating their conversations. Their smiles were inviting, promising a sense of belonging that Jessica craved. Her heart fluttered with a mix of hope and hesitation. Would she really fit in among them? What if she stumbled or faltered amidst the laughter? "Mommy, can we go in?" Max pulled her forward, sensing her hesitation. "Yes, we can," Jessica replied, letting go of her doubts for the moment. They walked inside, and the atmosphere welcomed them like an embrace. The sounds of chatter and motivational music enveloped them, filling Jessica with a pulse of renewed spirit. She spotted families gathering around activity tables designed for children. In that moment, her phone buzzed again in her pocket. All eyes moved toward her as she hesitated. Should she check it now, or would it take her out of this moment of potential joy? With the workshop behind those doors waiting for her and the unrelenting pull of Mark's message urging her to confront what was left unsaid, Jessica stood at a crossroads. Would she step forward into this new possibility or allow old ties to drag her back? Taking a deep breath, she chose to focus on the moment. But still, the question lingered. What if Mark had something important to say? Would she find the courage to explore the unknown while balancing everything else? Jessica stepped forward, Max tugging at her hand, pulling her into the vibrant workshop where hope and laughter buzzed around them. The warmth enveloped her like a signature hug, cozy and inviting. For the first time in a long while, she felt a sense of belonging. As they entered, the friendly chatter swirled around, and she spotted mothers setting up tables for activities while kids scampered about. Max's excitement ignited at the sight of the colorful crafts and laughter from the play area. "Can I go?" he squealed, looking up at her with those big, expectant eyes. "Of course," Jessica replied, her heart swelling with relief. It felt right to let him explore, to let him be a kid free from worries for a little while. The mother in her beamed with pride, watching him dart off into a new world. Her phone buzzed again in her pocket, but she shrugged it off. This moment right here felt crucial, a grounding tether from the chaos of her life. With a determined smile, she spotted the workshop room, a door as welcoming as an open invitation. Women filed in, eager to hear from the CEO, a beacon of inspiration who had walked a path similar to hers. A spark ignited within Jessica. What if she could absorb that wisdom? What if this was her moment to step towards something bigger than herself? With every step she took, the weight on her shoulders lightened. She slipped into a seat at the back, eyes scanning the room, filled with warmth and possibility. The aroma of coffee mingled with the fresh scent of paper as pamphlets were handed out. Jessica settled deeper, heart racing in anticipation. Soon, the CEO walked in, a figure radiating confidence and determination. Flowing hair and a broad smile, she exuded an energy that lit up the room. "Hello, ladies," she greeted, her voice strong yet inviting. "I'm thrilled to share my journey with you. It hasn't always been easy, but every step was worth it." Surrounded by mothers just like her, Jessica felt the first real connection since this entire journey began. They weren't just here to learn, they were here to lift each other up, to rewrite their stories together. The CEO shared snippets of her life, stories of challenges faced as a single mom while building a successful career. Each word resonated, wrapping Jessica in a sense of sisterhood. She spoke of late nights, missed moments, and the relentless fight for what's important. The entire room sat captivated by her journey, and Jessica found herself nodding along, tears pricking her eyes. For the first time, she felt seen. Her missteps and fears shared space with inspiration. The stories flowed, and bit by bit, doubts began to dissolve. In that moment, Jessica glanced at her phone again, choosing to ignore it once more. Each moment spent soaking in the triumphs of others overshadowed the looming uncertainties. It was time for her to reclaim her narrative. With renewed motivation flooding through her, Jessica began to capture notes, ideas, and newfound strategies, plans that could reshape the way she approached her responsibilities. She envisioned potential connections, friendships formed out of shared experiences, hands reaching out to lift each other higher. As the workshop drew to a close, the CEO invited everyone to share their own stories. Jessica's heart raced. Could she share her truth? This was her chance, and she found her voice rising within her. Each unspoken fear transformed into determination. I'm Jessica, a single mom just trying to find my way. I've faced challenges that felt insurmountable, yet I'm here tonight fighting for more. The room erupted in applause, and she felt that supportive energy surround her. The vulnerability in her words coaxed her deeper into her feelings, opening the door to possibility. Once the session wrapped up, Max bounded over, eyes wide with excitement. "Mom, I made friends!" He held up an art piece, bright colors swirling as if echoing his joy. "Oh, that's amazing, buddy!" she exclaimed, her heart swelling even further. It was a moment of perfect harmony. As they walked out, Max pressed against her side, looking up with a grin. "Can we come back tomorrow?" Jessica smiled, feeling the warmth spread through her chest. "Maybe we can, sweetheart. There's a lot to explore here." As they stepped outside, the sun casting a golden hue across the parking lot, Jessica felt a new sense of purpose flooding her, a gentle reminder of how every choice made can lead toward growth. A commitment to nurturing not just her children's time, but her own as well. She felt her phone buzz again, the message lurking like a shadow, but she welcomed it instead of fearing it. She pulled it out, reading Mark's words. "Can we talk about how I can be there for you both?" The ambivalence was still there, but this time Jessica's heart beat a little lighter. She sensed her own growth reflected in the decision about how she wanted to confront what lay ahead. Pulling Max close, she felt the warmth from both the workshop and the anticipated conversation. Embracing the unknown, living in her truth, Jessica knew there were endless possibilities ahead. That night, she left the worries behind. Both the past and the future held tentative hopes, but she would face them head-on. Together, they would rise. Together, they would thrive. Now it's your moment. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment below with your thoughts and feelings about this powerful transformation. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this inspiring journey. You need to subscribe now because only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Don't wait, not even one more second to share.